Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be breaking down how to reach out to the different leads that we have inside of SMM Deal Finder. And just to clarify right from the jump, we have two different types of leads. We have the ones that are in our AI Deal Finder that are the ones actively waving a flag saying, hey, I need help with social media marketing. And then on the other side, we have people that are in our niche finder. And those ones in niche finder, they may not be actively looking for help, but they definitely need to be guided to it because, boy, do they need help, right? So how are we going to go ahead and get into this? What are we going to do? Many times I get a question that says, hey, TJ, shouldn't I be reaching out to them in a different manner because they're two different types of leads? And the answer to that is you can. However, I like giving myself the best chance to win. And even though the ones that are waving a flag are saying, hey, I need help, and logically, that means you could reach out to them and be like, hey, so you need help, I give help, let's do help together. So I help you help me, we both make money. But again, I like giving myself the best chance to win. And doing it that way, it's kind of a brute force approach. And again, there's not that it's wrong, but in my opinion and in my experience, I've seen that takes more effort, more volume, more time. And I don't like to waste either of those three things. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to them in a manner that's going to build some rapport and use some reverse psychology to kind of pull them towards the idea that you can be the person to help out the things that they need. And how we're going to do this doesn't matter the type of lead. And then for this example, we're going to use a gym and we're going to be offering UGC, but you can plug in any type of business to this. You can plug in any service to this and it will work just fine. Okay. So I will go to said gym's Instagram, their websites, their TikToks, etc. I'm going to find a topic of conversation that I can give a compliment to and I can ask a question about. This could be anything from their products and services. This could be something that they did as an event at their location. And for this example, I'm going to go ahead and say it was a spin class that I saw a video on, right? So I'm going to find that video on their Instagram and I'm going to DM it to them. And I'm going to say, hey, the spin class looked awesome. The instructor was hyped. How often do you guys teach spin classes? Right? I've given a compliment to tell them that, hey, look, I'm paying attention to you. I think that what you're doing is pretty cool. And then I'm also asking a question that garners intrigue and it shows my interest. And that is going to make them pay interest and pay attention back to me. We live in an attention economy, ladies and gentlemen. That needs to happen between two people in order to keep a conversation going. So once we say that, the response that we're going to get back is generally going to be something that's going to be trying to sell you or tell you some more information to get them to sell you. So for this argument's sake, it's usually going to be something like, oh, hey, yeah, we do spin, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 o'clock. Here's a link to a free trial. You should come check us out. Regardless of what they say, I'm always going to respond the same way. That's awesome. I'll definitely come and check you guys out. And speaking of checking you out, I noticed that when I was scrolling down your Instagram, guys really don't post a whole lot of reels. Why is that? Now, this is framed as a curiosity-based question. This is not meant to be salesy, and it's also not meant to pick at them and seem ultra critical. This is a question that you already pretty much know the answer to, ladies and gentlemen. You know why they're not doing it, okay? It's usually something related to money, time, or knowledge. They didn't want to pay somebody to do it, they didn't have the time to do it, or they don't know how to do it. One of the three, and that's across the board, regardless of the service, okay? And for this conversation's sake, let's say they come back and just say it's time. They're too busy, which for many business owners is a real thing. So boom, he comes back, says, hey, you know what, man, like, I would love to get back at that a little bit more often, but, running class, training clients at the gym, my hands are full, I'm too busy. Hey, man, I totally understand. Being a business owner, you've got 9,000 things to do a day. That's pretty tough to handle. But I noticed that when insert ABC random gym down the street started posting more on social media and posting more specifically on their Instagram, they really blew up. And I know that might more clients in the door. So is that something you've ever considered getting help with? Now, this is where that sales flag gets planted on the top of the mountain. This is where it gets interesting. And this is kind of like the make or break moment, right? Because one of two things is going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to either get an argument back or a objection, as we like to call it in sales, or you're going to get left on red, which is going to require follow-ups and follow-ups and follow-ups until you can continue the conversation. This one over here, we don't like. We can't really fight that one too hard. But the objection we want, because the objection is something we can handle, we can make some logical sense out of, and we can go ahead and push through to go ahead and get what we want, which is an appointment to close this deal. So when you do this, again, most of the objections are going to be related to time, permission, money, etc. So let's go and say that they come back and say the objection is money. Hey, you know what? I've looked into that before, but that stuff costs an arm and a leg. I don't want to do that. Okay. Usually something along those lines. Your response is you're going to agree with their statement. You're going to restate their statement. You're going to deflect, and then you're going to push forward. Okay. So what does that look like? hey man, I totally understand. You know what? I'm sure there are marketers out there that cost an arm and a leg. But if I was able to do for you what ABC Gym down the street is doing, but keep it affordable and get you the same kind of results, is that a conversation worth having? And now notice the psychology and the question I'm asking there at the end of that sentence. I'm not asking them to sign up. I'm not asking them to spend money. I'm asking them if that would be a conversation worth having, if that is something that would be sensible for the business to do. Because what you're trying to do here is stack yeses, ladies and gentlemen. The more times you get somebody to say yes, the more times they're going to continue to say yes. And that's what this question is designed to do. It's designed to stack those yeses to get them to say yes to eventually getting on a call. So when they come back to this, if they push back and they try to object again, it's normally going to be a yeah, but type of situation. Okay. Because again, you sound pretty silly if I just said, hey, that thing that you need help with, well, I can give you that help. And I know your problem that you said was that it was expensive. If I kept it affordable and I can get you that help, wouldn't it make sense that you get it? So they're not going to just flat out say no. Okay. But if they do, and they say, yeah, but you're going to push on their next objection, right? Because usually be, yeah, but you know what? I'm just so busy. Like I've got too much going on. I don't think I have time to sit down and talk about this. You know what, man? I totally understand. Again, like we talked about earlier, being a business owner, you got 9,000 things to do. But just remember, nothing in a sentence matters before the word but. But even if we could just sit down for a quick 10 minutes, get you pointed in the right direction, that way, even if you wanted to get the help later, you could. Don't you feel like that would make sense for you guys to do? Again, reverse psychology question that's going to stack that yes to kind of build up those yeses towards the point of getting on that call. And you're going to continue to do this over and over again. Kind of like I always compare it to like having kids, right? Like usually kids are always trying to like, yeah, but mom said, well, yeah, I want to do this. It's the same kind of concept that we're going through here. But, okay, we're going to push through this until we get a yes or no answer. We don't want maybe. Maybe is the worst thing that you could ever get in sales anyway. Okay, because maybe is really just no, dressed up to maybe look like a yes to waste your time, and you do not want that. Okay, so you're going to field these objections and keep agree, restate, deflect, and push forward again until you get to that yes or no. And once you get that yes or no, now you know what you're going to do with that lead moving forward. You're going to book them to that call. You're going to go ahead and get that deal closed, or you're going to say be told no, and you're going to keep it moving and move on to your next lead. Again, when doing this type of outreach, volume is the name of the game. For the students that I work with on a regular basis, one-on-one, I always tell them you should be reaching out to a minimum of 50 leads per day. That doesn't have to all be like let's say it doesn't have to be all like DMs, doesn't have to be all emails, but a combination of 50 people per day, because that's going to give you the best chance to have success, in my opinion. And I've seen that with multiple students. So that being said, also, I wanted to point out, you're not trying to sell these people in a DM or in an email. Do not try to pitch them in there. Do not answer questions about price. Do not try to get salesy in this initial conversation. It's not going to work. I've been in sales for got to be close to a decade at this point. I can count on these 10 fingers how many times I've ever sold anything over $1,000 through just an email or a DM. Okay, so pretty rare. Okay, very, very rare. And I don't want to say that it's impossible because it's happened, but I want to give you the best chance to win. And the best chance to win is going to be by doing exactly what we talked about here today. You're building that rapport, you're building that connection. You're going to make sure that you're always on top of guiding them from where they are to where you want them to go. Okay, using that reverse psychology. So I hope this is very helpful for you. Another quick few tips before we go ahead and wrap up is number one, make sure you stay on top of follow-ups. Okay. Anytime one of these businesses gets back to you, you should be trying to get back to them as soon as possible. And if they don't answer you, you should be following up on them within 2 to 3 days. Okay. 2 to 3 days from no answer, we need to go ahead and follow up and ding them again. And ideally, you get them between 4 to 7 times that you're going to go ahead and reach out to them. The reason why we do that is the marketing principle of 7. The marketing principle of 7 says that on average, people need to see you, your product, your service, your offer, whatever, about 7 times before they're going to say yes or no to you. Okay. So 1, fortune is a follow-up. Stay on top of that. 2, volume is the name of the game. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I wish that this was the type of business that you could just send one email to one person, get one client on the phone, get one deal closed, and make $1 bazillion. I wish. It's not. Okay. It's going to require that volume of effort. But I always tell people to treat it like this. Think of it like lottery tickets. If you could have 500 lottery tickets or 5 lottery tickets for the same price of $0, what are you going to do? You're going to take the 500 lottery tickets. Why? Because that's 500 chances to win. So the same thing applies here, ladies and gentlemen. You need to put in the volume in the game in order to have the success. So don't just tap out on yourself because you sent 5 emails and nobody answered, or you sent 5 DMs and nobody answered. Okay. That is a very, 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 very minuscule number in the grand scheme of how many people you're going to reach out to over time as you grow as a social media marketer. And again, guys, if you need more help with this, I totally understand. The marketing world is always evolving, always changing, and sales gets a little bit more complex. So if that's something that you want help with, whether it be starting your agency, finding clients, how to close deals, or even more so, how to do the work for these clients so you can make sure that they're getting the results that they need, feel free to reach out to your concierge or reach out to the support email. We do have an educational program where we can walk you through this stuff step by step so that you make sure that you're not wasting time, money, or effort. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you need anything from us, please feel free to reach out, and I will see you in the next one.